Well, personal finance can be a little intimidating. Okay, let's get this right. It can be a lot of intimidating for me. Knowing the difference between accounts and cards can often be confusing, but lucky for us, we have the experts over at Mountain America Credit Union here with us to teach us the difference between credit and debit cards. We're with Peter Carrera. Excited to have you. We've been talking a little bit before we came on about debit cards, credit cards. I'm always confused by it, when to use what. So let's jump into that about what you can offer at Mountain America Credit Union.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Joey. So glad to be here. You know, the difference between a debit card and a credit card is a debit card, immediately the money comes out of your checking account, which means you are limited to the amount of money that you do have in there, of course. And with that being said, you could also potentially be declined or even have overdraft fees. You have to be careful of that. With a credit card, it is a revolving line of credit, which is a type of loan, which means that, first of all, you have to be approved. Second, of course, it is going to be based on how you use it. You may or may not accrue some interest and have to pay some fees. There's a lot of other benefits that we can talk about, of course. Do you want to go into that right now?
Yeah, I would love to know. The first thing is, growing up as a kid, I was scared of credit cards. And then as I got older, I realized the benefit they can have. So let's start with that, because some people where it's like, well, debit cards just, that's the money you have. So you got to be careful with credit cards. But there are a lot of advantages. So let's talk about that maybe, where some people go, well, credit card's scary because isn't it money you don't have necessarily? But that's not really the case.
Yeah, you know, with a credit card, it's simply a tool. So you're right. Sometimes it can be intimidating, but it's just a tool. You can choose to use it or not. It actually has nothing to do with your actual portfolio as far as how much wealth you have. And so meaning, I would just say, yeah, if you're going to use you're going to pay for everyday expenses, like let's say gas or food, you might as well get rewarded for doing that. And in fact, a lot of places offer great credit card reward programs. Only a few institutions will offer some debit reward programs. And so with credit cards, you might as well get rewarded for spending some of that money. So in fact, I think of rewards like cash or hotel discounts, concierge services, airport, special lounges that you can enter. Of course, it does vary from card issuer to card issuer. In fact, I think of a time when a member had mentioned to me that they actually use all of their credit card for every single purchase throughout the year. And then what actually happens is they actually accumulate and earn those rewards throughout the year. And so when Christmas time comes, they can redeem those points to go travel out of state, go to Christmas. So they do that all the time. So again, if you're going to use it, might as well get rewarded, right?
Now, can you help your members? If I came in and said, all right, I think I want a credit card, but I don't really know what rewards I want. You can kind of help tailor to say, all right, do you travel a lot? Do you use a lot of hotels? Because certain credit cards and certain rewards can obviously help out certain people.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, you might as well accumulate them just by using them, right? So it does vary from one card issuer to another as far as what you can actually earn. Right now, through the end of July, Mountain America is offering double rewards.
Okay, I like that,
Yeah, for any purchase that you're going to make, so you might as well get rewarded for that. And yes, those can be cashback, concierge, cell phone protection, rental car insurance, to concierge service. I mean, there's a whole plethora. And so we do have different cards that will help you for different needs. But I think right now, might as well take advantage of the Mountain America credit card rewards card that we have to get double rewards points, right?
Debit cards. Let's transition to that. Are there certain purchases that are great for debit cards? Are there reasons where you say, yeah, you probably want to use a debit card for this? And why do some people lean more towards a debit card?
Yeah, well, with a debit card, of course, when the money runs out, the money runs out, right? So with that being said, though, if you're not careful, you're not monitoring and watching your accounts closely, you could overdraft, and then you get hit with fees. So really, maybe you're thinking you're gonna save some money by not paying interest on some of the credit cards.
You've got to know what's in that account,
You might get hit with some fees, or you might get declined. It might be embarrassing, or just you have to put the whole grocery cart away worth of things that you had. So I can't think of a time when specifically I'd use a debit card over a credit card. They both have the same type of fraud protection over them.
That's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up, because I know there's myths out there that say, well, you have to use a credit card because they have the fraud stuff, but debit cards do as well.
Absolutely. So they both are covered by fraud. But here's an example. Let's say that you're on vacation, you're camping, maybe you don't have cell phone service to check on your accounts. And let's say that fraud does occur, which it actually has happened to me and almost anybody else that I know. It doesn't matter how careful you are. And so let's say that fraud occurs. Well, in that scenario, it actually wouldn't, if you're using a credit card, it wouldn't impact your checking account balance, nor would it impact the ability you have to be able to pay bills, right? Because it's not your money. If you're using a credit card, they would that money would be taken out of the credit line, versus the debit card card, that checking account could be drained, right? Which again, you could get fees and all of that. Of course, both sides would be taken care of, but I just think less of a headache when you use a credit card.
Quick question about credit score. People want to check it. People are worried about checking it, but credit score is obviously very, very important, especially for some of our younger people that are becoming into adulthood and they want good credit.
Yeah, absolutely. So a credit score really, it's basically who you are in financial terms. It's how you've managed debt. Like I mentioned earlier, it doesn't have to do with your net worth. So it has to do with how you've managed and paid back debt. And so obviously the higher credit score you have, the greater chance of getting approved, better interest rates that you have. And something I want to mention, of course, is the interest rate can be irrelevant if you use it and pay it off and use it and pay it off, right? If you don't carry a balance. And so, of course, having good credit can also help you get into, a rental or try to help you buy a house or get into the dream car that you've always wanted. And so, of course, it's a tool. So if you want to use it, I think might as well use it responsibly, build up good credit. So you have more options down the road. More options is better, right?
Yeah, well, my wife, Lauren, and I are always competing about who has the better credit score. And she likes to be like, oh, I'm 2 points ahead. I'm 3 points ahead. So we love it. Where can people go for more information? Because you're an expert. You're a genius. We've learned a lot, but where can people learn more?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been so great being here this morning, Joey. So you can go to our website, macu.com. You can also, of course, visit one of our local branches. And we're here to help you. We're here to help guide you forward and help you be successful.
Perfect. You're the best. And also, Team Minivan. We're both parents of young kids. You told me to get the minivan. So
15 couples.
Yeah, there we go. We'll have more Idaho Today coming up after the break.